Okay, guys, so playoffs day one in the books was a pretty good time. We did get a little scared when Joel went down. Hopefully he'll be good. What game do I want to start with? I think I want to go right to Suns Wolves, a series where, yes, I picked Phoenix. They got killed in game one, so Suns fans, if I curse you, I'm sorry. Off rip, we saw some adjustments from the Wolves compared to the regular season where we had Cat on Grayson Allen and D'Lo, or not D'Lo, I'm jumping the gun. Conley was on Beal. Now we had Cat on KD, and then we had Conley guarding Grayson Allen. And then after that, we had Rudy being a little more switchy on Kevin Durant screens early in the game. And then there was that one play where he ended up switching to Book, and then Book took him baseline and had to get like a reverse layup on him. I don't remember if he was switching onto Book or Beal a whole lot other than that one. I could be wrong there. And yes, KD was able to do his thing, get into his ISO 2s and all that. But the Wolves blew him out. And a big thing was the turnovers were not as much of a problem for Ant. I mean, Ant went crazy with the contested shots over KD especially. But basically, whenever Ant found himself in single coverage, it's like a pull-up bank shot over Grayson Allen. It's the tough jumpers over KD. It was a turnaround jumper over Royce O'Neal. And, my big thing going into this was I don't know if Ant, because in the regular season he wasn't doing a good job against the Suns' aggressive defense where they were throwing extra bodies at him. Well, he had a play in this game where Nurkic was high up on the screen as he ran it with Gobert, and Ant was able to split the double. I don't remember who was guarding Ant initially, and he was able to get inside, and then he had like a Euro step around. I think it was Book who was the help guy. And yes, in the very beginning of the game, there were a couple of plays where Ant, you could tell he was probably a little hyped up, and he did commit a couple of turnovers versus the aggressive Suns defense collapsing on him in the paint. But that was about it. I mean, the largest fear that I had with the Wolves was not a problem in game one, which now makes me think my pick is not looking good there. Now we had other things with their offense. We had Cat go at KD in the post. One that I definitely remember where he got the ball really quick and he drew a three-point play on KD. He had another post play on KD where he got him with a hook shot. One time where Book and Beal double-teamed Cat in the post and he was able to draw a foul off of that. Like in the regular season thing, I was like, listen, man, they're putting KD on him. They're bringing double teams on Cat. It's kind of making him uncomfortable. Well, in this game, he was able to get busy as a scorer a little bit more. I mean, hell, like one of the early buckets that they had was they doubled Cat on the left wing on a post-up, and then it was immediately Gobert cuts, and that becomes a Rudy dunk. So the Wolves were ready for that. To talk the defense and the screen navigation for the Wolves, hey, listen, man, Jaden McDaniels had at least one block on Book coming around a screen. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who was fantastic with his made threes, like he steals an entry pass for KD. One time he contests Devin Booker from behind, really good screen navigation again. Let's see, we had one play where it was a KD attempting to throw the lob to Eubanks, and Gobert was there to contest that shot. But beforehand, it was either Jaden or it was Nickeil. I don't remember exactly who, but they were just like glued to KD from behind to where he just wasn't comfortable like around the free throw line. And like that's a big thing with the series. Yes, the Suns, they're going to make some mid-range jump shots. And I think part of that, too, is that I thought the Wolves' help defense was, like, not really scrambling for most of the game. They were more so trying to make it as close to a 2v2 game as they could, like on the screen actions and all that. And they also killed them on the boards. I mean, if the Suns are not going to be able... And yes, in my pregame thing, I said, well, when Nurkic is on the court, the Suns are a better defensive rebounding team. Okay, that's nice. The Wolves had, at one point, what felt like a million offensive rebounds. I think for the game, they finished with, like, 14. If the Suns are not going to turn the Wolves over... If they are not going to shoot a whole bunch of threes, because it's the Phoenix Suns we're talking about here, and they are also going to get killed on the boards, then the only way they win this series is if they shoot like 60% on two-point jump shots. Just some numbers, the Wolves had 14 turnovers in this game, which like even that is still like a little more than you'd really like to have, but it's not enough to where you got to panic if you're the Wolves. And the Suns attempted 28 threes, which would be last in the league. Now, the Wolves are not a super high three-point volume team either, so sometimes they're fighting the math themselves, but yeah. But also within that, yeah, I did think the screen navigation on Book was just like really, really good. And, Gobert was up, as high as I think he needed to be on a couple of screen actions, which allowed Jaden or Nickeil to get around the screen actions on Book. Good Wolves win. Now we are going to go to the Lakers and the Nuggets, where the third quarter specifically, it went from me like really appreciating just two teams going back and forth. We got LeBron, AD, DHOs, Jokic is dropping on the screen, LeBron's going right at him, three-point play. Other end, Jokic and Murray are running a screen action, AD's dropping. Now it's Jokic who's got a little bit of space, puts his shoulder into AD, hits this crazy bank shot, hook shot thing. I'm like, oh, this is just beautiful basketball both ways, man. And then in the span of like 3 minutes, the Nuggets make it a 15-point game. I thought there were like three back-breaking plays for the Lakers, where it was D'Lo misses that layup, where I think it was a cut, where Jokic, he was there, but it was certainly a makeable layup for D'Lo. He misses. Within 1 second, it's, Jokic gets the ball up court. We got a Jamal Murray corner three. Another time, it was KCP getting that DHO with Jokic, where KCP kind of runs basically across the whole court. And D'Lo, he was like a second too slow on it, man. Like, I don't want this to be the roast D'Lo session because I know it's going to be that on, like, everywhere for the next, however many hours until game 2. But you got to be there on the KCP DHO action. I don't know what to tell you. And then the other play was Jokic and Murray double-teaming LeBron on screen action, which then becomes a swing to Taurean Prince, who drives inside. MPJ is trailing him. MPJ blocks him from behind. Jokic gets the ball, flip to KCP in transition, pull up 3. It can happen that fast against Denver. And then within that, like, of course, we saw Rui on Jokic. We saw LeBron on Jokic for a little bit there. We saw AD on Jokic. AD pulled off a couple of good defensive plays late there. One where he kind of blocks him as Jokic goes for the spin move on the hook. Another time where Jokic just missed over AD. But it's just hard, man. I mean, Murray made like a contested corner 3 with AD all over him. Murray makes this like floater off the Jokic pick and roll when they just started spamming that late in the fourth quarter with AD dropping on the screen. But I didn't think the defense was like bad or anything. It's just tough. And yes, that LeBron cross-court turnover when he was trying to throw it to Dinwiddie was not ideal. LeBron and AD were still really good. I don't want to act like they weren't, but yeah, they're playing the Denver Nuggets, man. And also, I did feel a little bad for D'Lo when he took that pull-up 3 off of a screen and it just rimmed in and out. And I could not help but feel like, is there just something that happens with D'Lo when he faces the Nuggets, man? I mean, to be clear, you've also got little plays where like KCP is like doing a good job navigating the screen around D'Lo, and so then he's kicking it out, and then nothing really materializes for the Lakers, so then it's going to result in just LeBron having to figure something out for him, But yeah, it's tough, man. That's Denver. I do wonder if we're going to see AD more on Jokic moving forward, because it felt like in the fourth quarter they just kind of hard committed to that, and AD did have some good plays. I mean, I was doing my whole thing in the last one, like, well, if AD as a help defender can't do it, then can anybody do it? Maybe it's just best to have AD on Jokic. I don't know. There's no right answers against Denver. You can only just keep throwing stuff at the wall. And then when that happens, it's like, oh, now Aaron Gordon's going to get a post-up score on Taurean Prince, because why not? Okay. We are now going to go to the Sixers and the Knicks, where, to state the obvious first, basketball gods, please protect Joel Embiid. I do not want to see him go down again. Also, that putback dunk was sick. So in the fourth, we saw Philly running a bit of a zone. We also saw a bit of just like, don't guard Josh Hart, basically. Hart makes a few threes. Those are huge. McBride makes a pull-up 3 as he had a bunch of threes on the night. I want to talk about Mitchell Robinson in that fourth quarter, man. He made Embiid take, I remember 2 specific, like, deep mid-rangers where you could tell Joel was like a little off balance because Mitch was doing a good job on him. There was another time where Embiid was trying to basically back Mitch down. Mitch holds up really well on him, and then I remember McBride was like the extra help guy to contest at the rim just a little bit. Mitch also had at least 2 putbacks in that fourth quarter. There was that one play where like Mitch and Josh Hart both had an offensive rebound on Philly, which I think eventually led to one of the Josh Hart threes, or maybe that one was the one where OG got the open 3 because Brunson rejected the screen from Hart as Mitch cut through at the same time, which kind of freaked him out, and then we see Tobias having a hard rotate to the other side of the floor to try to get OG. He makes that 3. It might have been that play. I don't remember exactly what. Point being is, it was a very entertaining fourth quarter where, before that, like, Embiid, Philly gets out to the lead, right? Embiid's just doing all the Embiid things. It looks like he's going to just kill the Knicks. And then later on, it was like, the thing I was focused on the most on was like, when Embiid's dropping back on these screens, like there was that one time where Brunson did get that pull-up 3. I don't remember who was guarding him. I think it was Oubre on this play. But Oubre seemed to have gotten him most of the time. I mean, Batum was on him some as well, but it felt like there was some success where you'd had like OG having to pick the ball up in the paint and then shoot a turnaround jumper that had no chance of going in with Joel waiting for him there. Or him daring Ihart to make the floater and that doesn't go in. Or the time he stole the dump-off pass where DiVincenzo was driving and he stole the pass that was supposed to go to Mitch, right? So I was thinking, oh, Joel is just slowing them down like crazy on these. But then the story shifted to the zone and, Josh Hart being dared to make shots. I mean, that 1-3 where it looked like the Knicks' possession was dead as Embiid was basically switched onto Josh Hart at this point on the right wing. And then he just tosses up this 3 that nobody thought was going in, and then it drops through like, oh my goodness. As far as some matchup stuff, Maxey was at first guarded by OG. It felt like it was, more of a mix of McBride or whatever by the end there. There were some possessions where it was just like OG's just on Tobias for this possession, I guess. And Maxey was able to pull off some plays where I think it was like Lowry screening for Maxey to where, McBride is trying to get back to him. Brunson's not trying to give him the switch, and it results in Maxey just getting downhill and scoring, basically. But no, I mean, Deuce was great in this one. I mean, to basically start the fourth quarter, he just stole the ball from Maxey as Maxey tried to run a screen action with Batum. Another time where it was like a Embiid, Lowry double screen or whatever. Then Hartenstein was like chasing Lowry, and that becomes a 3. And the point I'm getting at is the Knicks won. Very fun fourth quarter. But this series, it's going to be close the whole way, man. But I do feel like this was kind of the Mitchell Robinson game. What did he have? He had 8 points, 12 rebounds, 4 blocks, a steal. Cool. Okay, you want to talk Cavs Magic now? So for one, I did not think that Isaac was going to be starting. I thought we were going to see Wendell. Besides that, we got Mobley threes. We got Mobley scored on Cole Anthony on switches in the post. And besides that, we saw kind of a stretch that summed it up for me, where it was the last thing that I remember was Paolo getting, I believe, a 3-point play off of an ISO pull-up 2 on, I think it was Niang. It could have been a Koro. But before that, you had a stretch of plays where it was like Franz is trying to get the Garland switch. He can't get it. Swing to Cole Anthony, who misses a 3. Okoro and Mobley just wall off this Fultz drive to the rim. Then a couple of switches between Mobley and Allen on Paolo, who makes a pass to Gary Harris that goes nowhere. And yeah, I mean, this is the challenge for the Magic. It's just getting buckets consistently in the series. And some of it's just going to come down to whether the three's winning or not, I understand. But yeah, there was like a stretch in the second quarter where it was just like, Magic can't get anything. Paolo finally gets them something on just like an and one. It's like, yep, that's how it's going to be, I guess. Now, we did have a little stretch where it was like Suggs steals it from Garland. We go the other way. And then Gary Harris puts pressure on the ball. And then it becomes a Suggs transition 3 the other way. Like, there were little hints here and there, like a play where Jonathan Isaac blocks, I think it was like a Strus drive on a play that was going nowhere. And then they got a transition thing. There were little things here and there. But yeah, the Magic, there's going to have to make some shots. Anyway, that's about all I got.